internet, you can do it. Oh, so tired at the moment. Anyway, welcome back to the Andy Mechanic YouTube channel and another live stream. Let's find out who we've got in the workshop. Just bear with me a second. Hopefully it'll upload by now. Yes, there we go. Boom. Turn the volume down. It is down. That's good. Comments, please. Come on, YouTube. We have got the real Daz03 in the workshop. Welcome, Daz. Good morning. Daz says, morning, Andy and crew. We've also got Simon Roll, the Spanner Man. Morning, Andy and crew. Good morning, Simon. You've guessed it from the thumbnail. It's here. We'll take a look a bit later on. Purple Monkey 1974. Hi. Good morning, Purple Monkey 1974. 2 years after I was born. Wow. Just get rid of this stupid advert. Okay, give me an idea what the audio and visual is like. I'm not entirely sure. It's been a bit of a rush job this morning. I didn't get a chance to check the internet connections to see which was best. Cheers. So it's been a very busy couple of weeks since we last spoke. Where do I start? Well, the good stuff is all the roof is finished. Ben came down. Phenomenal help. We couldn't have done it without him. So thank you, Ben, if you're watching this. We also put the huge posts, 200mm by 200mm section, and about 3.5 meters long. A meter of that's in the ground. Those are for the side port. We've done nothing more than concrete those into the ground. And again, Ben dug all the holes. What a top lad. We couldn't use the auger because we know there's some poo pipe. You know what I'm talking about. That wasn't going to happen. So Ben offered to, dig the... Oh, no. Oh, there we go. Look, we might be back with that. Okay. Got those done, but we've done nothing else. Doing that, Ben has had confirmation that he has to move out of the, I'll call it a student house. Basically, it's a group that have rented a house in Auckland, and some of the group have now moved on, natural, getting jobs and that kind of thing, and settling down elsewhere. He has to move out. He can't afford to live there anymore. So we are going to get a lot of stuff back down here again. So he's like, we need to build a shed. Oh, really? Yeah, it's a big job, and he moves out at the end of April, and it's not going to happen by the end of April. So I said, look, why don't we finish the side port, get that done? At least you can put all your gear under there and it'd be in the dry, and anything that's valuable will have to come in the workshop, So that's sort of the plan of attack at the moment. He wants to build the shed, but he wants to build it at the back of this workshop. But we've already got a silver shed there that he wants to tear down, and I'm like, well, there's a lot of stuff in that shed, Ben. Where's all that going to go? So that's all in flux at the moment. What else has been going on? Well, I did a site visit. Went to a wonderful place. I won't put the name down, but a wonderful place, middle of nowhere. I ended up doing over 100 kilometers of gravel driving just to get to and from the site. That's how remote it was. But once there, pretty cool place, to be honest. They've got a restaurant up on a hill and a sort of 10-kilometer track that will take you down in an ROV to get to the restaurant and back, and you can stay on site. And I think it's on route for one of the major walking tracks here in New Zealand as well. So they get a lot of ramblers, a lot of walkers, hikers calling in, and they've got a nice cafe. I had breakfast at the cafe. Very nice. Very, very nice indeed. It was good, actually. It was well worth waiting till I got there rather than just pulling to a petrol station and have the regular old pie. What else has been going on? Well, I had to head down south this last week, Wednesday to Friday. So I left Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday morning, Wednesday probably. No, it was Wednesday afternoon because I had a meeting in the morning. Got down there, had to do some training on the Thursday, and then that bled over into the Friday morning. And I finally got home, I think, bang on 6 p.m, which was really good, actually. Wasn't too late a day on Friday. And then Saturday, yesterday, ooh, I nearly lost you then. We're back. Sorry, the internet at the moment is pretty bad around here for some reason. Basically involved three trips to the tip. with just rubbish and bits and pieces. With the odd jobs, put some more stuff in the loft. Mrs. Mechanic's been sorting out a lot of stuff, so it's pretty good. Right, back to the comments. I can see that it's pretty bad, isn't it? It was good earlier on. Is it my reception or is it my transmission that's at fault? The real dad's all good at my end. Bed Monkey, all seems fine, thank you. Simon, all good this side, brilliant. The Giant, good evening, Andy and crew. From a very hot evening. Yeah, wow. Well, we've had some nights this last couple of months that have been 19, 20 degrees through the night, which has been stifling hot to try and sleep in. It's been ridiculous. Richard Perry. Hi, Andy and crew. GB, thumbs up. Good morning, Richard. Welcome back to the workshop. Simon, remember the like. Thank you, Simon. Appreciate that. The Giant, you're freezing your streaming. Yeah, I think that's the internet, but I don't know whether it's transmission or reception. I think it must be transmission. The phone transmission is currently on its own data, which turned out to be quicker than the Vodafone rural broadband, and I'm receiving on the rural broadband at the moment. So I don't know if I can change my phone over mid live stream. It may not work. The real Daz, what is the pie this week? Well, that's a very good question, Daz. Just let me finish my cigarette and we'll get to it. Bear with me. Remind me in a minute because I'll only forget. Connor K. Good morning, Andy and crew. Hope everyone is doing well. I hope so too, actually. It's been a weird couple of weeks. Just been ridiculously busy. Lots going on. What did I do that first week? Oh, that's right. The first week. Was that the training week? I can't remember now. I had to go to Auckland and do some training and bits and pieces as well. I did some work from home, which was nice for a couple of days, Monday and Tuesday, but it has been pretty, yes, it was training the previous week. So yes, I was up in Auckland for about another 3 days, so midweek, and then it was just, I did a dealer visit somewhere as well on the way up. So I've been all over the place, to be honest. I'm back in Auckland again. Well, I've got to go this afternoon, believe it or not, another Sunday gone. Part of the job, isn't it? Bit annoying, but part of the job, got to be done. I don't know how long I'll be in Auckland for. I might be disappearing off to do some dealer visits, or I may well be coming home to do some admin work. I don't know at this point in time. Still got lots of admin work to do. It seems that I'm struggling to catch up, which is a bit weird. The volume is just ridiculous at the moment, and the market seems to be, New Zealand in general, and employment seems to be very, very turbulent at the moment. I know a lot of companies are struggling. The sales are way, way down, and that's not just all it's across the board. I mean, look at EV sales now; they are pitiful. Just hit rock bottom in reality. Yeah, sure, they're still selling the odd one, but they're having to discount the shit out of them to get them out the door. Government subsidies have all gone. The government's now, as of the 1st of April, I think it is, so not too far away, those vehicle owners will have to buy what we call road user charges, and they'll be charged for every kilometre that they drive, as well, because the government can't tax the electric, they tax the usage. So, the benefits of owning an EV, or the perceived benefits to the public of owning an EV have basically been blown out of the ground. They just, in reality, there's no benefit. You've just got all the disadvantages now. And I suspect there is going to be quite a few people out there that are now in, I suppose you could use the term, negative equity. Where they've bought a vehicle, a major investment for some people, usually the second biggest investment that they have other than buying their house, and they paid a lot of money for it, and now the current market value is substantially less. It's just spiraling down as the market loses confidence with these EVs. And there's also, taste now on the horizon. I think one manufacturer's already marketing a hydrogen hybrid car. So I think people are now starting to look at that as being a viable option, but there's no infrastructure for that in New Zealand, so good luck with that, people. Wi-Fi hub in the garage. It's just there, Dad. It's like 7 feet away from me. That's all we've got. Um, my reception here on my laptop is pretty grainy. I hope it's not like that for you guys. Now then, Connor K, EV sales are down. You're right. Oh, and you are breaking my heart. I said it. I said it on live stream over and over again over the last couple of years about EVs, and I knew the bubble was going to burst, but it's burst way bigger than I thought it was going to do, and it's happened really quick. The UK second-hand EV car sales, you can't sell them. Dealers don't want to know. It's too high risk for them, you know, with the market being so turbulent at the moment. They could lose a lot of money on one. Plus, they may require some pretty expensive repairs as well. So they're just not prepared to deal with the EVs at the moment. In the main, there'll be the odd dealer out there that will, but in the main, no chance. So, oh, and Hertz, don't forget, one of the major car rental companies in the US has dumped a huge number of EVs off their fleet because they're just too much of a liability and too hard to manage. That's basically what they're saying. And some of their customers just don't want EVs. You know, don't force an EV on a punter that wants to rent a car. I sure as hell wouldn't be able to, I wouldn't want an EV or the responsibility of driving an EV on the road and having to look out and search out, especially in the South Island, to search out any kind of charging points. And I don't have the time in my schedule to just sit in the car and wait for it to charge up. It's just not an option for me. And I'm sure plenty of other people are in the same boat. Didn't plan on talking about EVs today, but it's actually quite interesting stuff what's going on in the market at the moment. Simon found a good use for weld crack detector today. Very good. A ZZR 600 getting a clicking noise when braking. Interesting. Found 2 hairline cracks in the disc around the bobbins. Wow. Very dangerous situation as well. Well spotted, Simon. Good job. I must admit, that does bring back a memory. I have had, in the past, there was a guy that mentioned that to me when I was doing Warranty Fitness. And well, I looked at the bike. I didn't use any crack detector spray. It was only a warrant. And I just said, oh, you know, the rivets, because it was a floating disc, the rivets were pretty loose. And I said, maybe that's where the noise is coming from, but it may well have been the same thing. Well spotted, Simon. Good job. You probably saved that guy's life doing that. Harry Dog, I don't know an ignition module can cause your car to totally shut down. That's what happened to me yesterday. Probably not, because if you know you've got other systems that are independent to the ignition module, and so you should let the dash still operate and headlights and bits and pieces. If you're losing power to everything, I can't imagine it's an ignition module. It's probably much further upstream than that. Check your battery terminal. Tony Eden, that's a new name. No bikinis today, Andy. Nope, haven't got the bikini on today. Only joking. No, Tool Girls, that was a while ago now, to be fair. I moved down to our current house, one that we bought many, many, many years ago. It was rented out. We got out of Auckland, and I'm about 3.5 to 4 hours drive south of Auckland now. And logistics of bringing the girls down to do some filming from Auckland we did it a few times, and it just proved to be just an absolute ball ache. It was always a rush job doing the filming. It didn't feel natural. It didn't feel what's the word? So bona fide. It was just we didn't as we used to do. So in the end, you know, we decided that it wasn't really the best option. And to be fair, Tool Girl Holly, she changed jobs, and her new job is, you know, she's much further up the food chain now. She's got a really good job, and it takes up a lot of her time. So she decided that, you know, she's done that now. Off you go. Did see a Facebook post, actually, a couple of days ago. Do you remember Tool Girl Sam? Well, if I can find it, hang on, just bear with me. This is pretty cool. Now then, where will it be? Just bear with me here. There we go. Right, so Tool Girl Sam, she put a post. Here we go. She's managed to secure an acting position in an up-and-coming movie. Now, obviously, the movie hasn't yet been made. They're actually filming it at the moment. But it's called Redacted. That's Redacted, Redacted. So make a note of that, and maybe in a couple of years' time, search for it, because Tool Girl Sam will be in that movie. Very, very cool. And you know, that's a pretty classic story for quite a few of the Tool Girls that have been on the channel. You know, they've moved on to bigger and better things, and being a tool girl for Andy Mechanic, me, has really been a stepping stone for them in their career, and that's brilliant. I couldn't wish any more for them. That is absolutely superb. Yes, it's a terrible shame we don't have assistants in the videos anymore. You know, Mrs. Mechanic helps out a lot, but it's, as you know, it's not quite the same. It was a very different sort of perspective. Be very careful what I say now, don't I? There's no way I'll get her to stomp around the workshop in 6-inch heels, that's for sure. But yeah, it's the end of an era at the moment. Who knows what might happen in the future? But at the moment, just doesn't work. It just doesn't fit with the rest of what's going on in my life and travel and logistics and that kind of thing. So my sincere apologies. Connor K saw a video recently about EVs displaying screen failures. We're talking windscreens now. Replacements are very expensive because they may contain multiple control. Oh, sorry. So the actual display, bloody laptop screen, big tablet in there, which is, I think, all that will do is distract the driver. But anyway, so lots of screen failures. Yeah, I mean, I think probably with the mad rush of producing all these EVs, you know, maybe they've cut a few corners, gone for maybe cheaper products just to try and cash in. Or maybe the quality control hasn't quite been there because they need the parts to go into the cars. And hey, we know it's not 100% right. Send it out, we'll fix it under warranty. Doing nothing but disrupting the customer, to be fair, which is totally wrong. Tony Eden. I'm not new, been lurking for years. Very good, Tony. I like that one. Mike Adams, hi y'all. Good morning, Mike. Welcome back, mate. Sorry about the attempted accent there. Simon, see the Andy Mechanic channel makes stars. Yes, it does. I mean, it wasn't planned, but it definitely turned out that way. And when I read Sam's post, it was like, wow, that's bloody damn cool. She deserves that. Connor K, Sam in a movie. Hannah in my heart. Dilemma, right? I haven't spoken to Sam for years, but it's great that she's still friends on Facebook. So it's you know, it's nice to see that she's doing well. Right, so the pie is, and it's on a plate. Look at this. Now the reason for that is when Benjamin came down, he always brings with him some good food supplies. He always goes shopping and brings us a lot of stuff, which is really good because he does eat a fair bit, but he likes to contribute, which is nice. I'm sure there are plenty of kids out there that wouldn't do that. They'd just go and raid mum and dad's fridge. This pie is one of the ones that's left over. He bought them in a multi-pack, 6 pies in a pack from a supermarket, and it is, I think it's a chicken tikka or something like that. I don't know, to be fair. Chicken something or other. It's not a pie that I would go for. He bought these for Mrs. Mechanic because she likes to join in and have a pie at 11's morning tea, as they call it here in New Zealand, or smoko, as the common name is. Doesn't look too bad. I mean, it's been battered around in the fridge and the freezer for a while, actually, this one. So it was put in the fridge last night and it's good to go. There's a couple of minor sort of cracks around the lid where it's just maybe starting to lift a little bit. I don't think it's a chicken tikka. I think it's chicken something else, but I can't really remember. Maybe Mrs. Mechanic will send me a text because I forget, to be honest. It's just not a pie that I go for. So we'll chuck it in the pie warmer in a second. I'll just finish the cigarette. And, well, I will jump into an area of pieage that I have never been before. And we'll just see how good or bad it is. It could be a whole revelation for me. Let's have a look. Simon, loved seeing when the UK froze a few weeks ago. Tesla drivers locked out of their cars due to the electric door handles. What a shame. Terrible. Really feel. In fact, I feel for those people in from genuinely from the perspective of I'm so sorry that you were duped. You were dragged into that marketing spin, the government hype, the government subsidies, the whole campaign of changing the world to EVs. And it wasn't just one particular country, as you well know, it was across the globe. Some countries have gone, you know what? No chance. I mean, the US, I think EV pickup is pitiful. Here in New Zealand, it's been extremely successful, which now becomes a massive liability for the country. We can't produce enough electric to feed those cars. There's regular power outs and power shortages around the Auckland area, especially. And poor old Huntly, which is our last coal power station, is burning the coal as fast as it possibly can. So those EV owners are under the impression that they're helping the world, whereas in reality, they're a coal-powered car, most of them. It's pretty sad, to be fair. More charging stations popping up in the rural areas. I've seen quite a few around. And if you look carefully around the area, and there was one at a petrol, believe it or not, one at a petrol station in Palmerston North earlier this week, where they've got a nice big line of Tesla chargers, and on the side of the building containing the generator, and you know it's a generator because it's got loads of air vents and stuff on it, and there's an exhaust sticking out the top. They had a big sign saying EV charging this way and a big smiley face. I mean, come on, the irony was just ridiculous. And that's the same sort of model for quite a few of the rural EV chargers around New Zealand now. Yes, sure, you can charge your car up, but there's the big, I'm talking container size, massive diesel generator to power those chargers. It's just a farce. It really is. The whole thing is just a joke. Now, where we get to Mike Adams, no offense taken. Cheers, Mike. Sorry about that. On the accent attempt, I think it's funny and fun hearing people trying accents and even trying myself. Yeah, I mean, good luck with the old broad Yorkshire. I've lost a lot of it. But when I start talking to a Yorkshire person, I very quickly drop back into that broad Yorkshire, and it's now then, how's it going? How do? There's another one for you. Or just morning, and I still use the word morning here in New Zealand, and they look at you like you're an idiot. It's like, well, it is morning. What are you on about? They don't recognize it as a, hey, how's it going? It's not that kind of phrase to them. So, I'm an idiot, obviously. Oh my God. Tessafun, we'll stick it at that one. Tessafun, hello Andy. I'm happy with Saturday because of you. Why don't you start teaching electric vehicles, the hybrid? Because the way you teach is very easy to understand, and I like you very much. Well, Tessafun, to be perfectly honest, in order to teach that kind of stuff, first of all, I need to have detailed knowledge of EVs, and I don't have that. There are many other YouTube channels out there that cover EV repairs and diagnosis, and I wouldn't even attempt, compete's the wrong word, but I wouldn't even attempt to rub shoulders with those guys. That's their speciality. They are very good at it. Secondly, you need an EV car to be able to do the videos, and there's no hope in hell's chance an EV car is coming anywhere near my workshop. I don't own one. I know a couple of people with them. I don't have any kind of diagnostic tools for them. You have to have a certificate here in New Zealand to work on an EV car because of the higher voltage. I don't have that. We attempted to teach EV stuff when I was at Unitec, and then it very quickly came to light that all of the lecturers that were going to be involved would have to have the electrical certification to do it, and none of us had it. So the car just got parked up. It was an old Prius. It got parked up in the outside under a tree, and that was the end of that. It probably went for scrap. Difficult to set up the training, and very specialist equipment and very detailed knowledge. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I'm more old school. I need to focus more on the more traditional vehicles. motorcycles, cars, trucks, trailers, that kind of thing. EVs, I just don't have a lot of interest. I enjoy watching videos being covering EVs, but to try and understand how they work, I find that interesting, but it's just not for me at the moment. Obviously, as the world quickly changes across to these type of vehicles, I may receive some training in that area through work. I don't know. Probably unlikely. It might happen. If that's the case, then maybe one day when I finish my employment or providing that employer with my services, then maybe that knowledge will then propagate through videos. We will wait and see. Time will tell. Okay, right, back to the pie. It's a chicken something or other. There we go, look. Let's get it in the pie warmer. Okay, turn you around. 3, 2, 1. Where's it gone? That one. There, it keeps moving. Boom. Okay. Dum, dum, dum. Oh, I put up some new lights. These lights in the back of the workshop failed. And I know they're not video friendly. They will start, if I go too close, they'll start to flicker. Maybe not on the live stream, actually. Don't know. On videos it does. But these are LED lights. They're fully sealed. They're really good ones. They're meant for outdoor use. Ben brought me 3 of those down, and they already had plugs on them, which is great. So we've now got a really bright back end of the workshop, which is cool. Okay, it's going in the pie warmer. Dum dum dum. It's quite soft, is that pie? 23 minutes. Wish it luck. No, I've not cleaned the pie warmer. Disgraceful, I know. A very slow pan of the workshop because I know that will destroy the image being sent out. Lighting wise, I have fixed a couple of lights. We're sort of getting a bit better again now. We got these ones to work. I'm a bit short of tubes. Both of those are working again now, and both of those are working, but I think, yeah, another tube down on that side. Over here, just for interest, this one has stopped working, but I've not investigated why. I don't know what's going on with that one yet, but it's not really that important, so I'm not worried about it. Okay, right. What else? Oh yes, these are we were sorting through all our tech screws and bits and pieces the other day when Ben was here, and to see what we had left in stock. And these are the ones, what do we use these for? Oh, we had to make a load of brackets, that's right, and we used those to screw them down. These are, I think, 65. I think they're 65s. 75s, look at that, 75 mil long. We used hundreds of those to hold the roof on. But we've had lots and lots of rain recently, and the roof and the workshop is brilliant. There is 0 water ingress into my workshop now, and it's a lot quieter in here when it's raining hard, and more to the point, it's a lot cooler, which is one of the main reasons for doing what we did. Now, look, we have a parcel. So let's dig our way into that. See what Simon, Mr. Rawl, has sent all the way from the UK. Now, where did I put my knife? Bear with me. I need to find the knife. Okay, let's make a bit of space. I'll try and keep it in shot for you. Right, Simon, I've covered up all the addresses and things. That's good. We're going in. And first of all, thank you for sending this over. It's been a while. Sorry it took so long to get here. Let me just try to not cut my fingers off. Always cut towards your mate, right? Jeez, Simon is brilliant at packing parcels. There's no doubt about that. Now, as you can see, I've not opened this in advance. I have no idea what's in here. So, Simon, hopefully there's nothing naughty in here. You never know. Okay, I think we need to get the whole chunk out. There we go. Oh, hang on, there's some more. There we go. Right, let's start with this. So this is for the lathe, isn't it? A little center. Oh, yes. So that's going to fit in instead of the chuck. So I can then, do longer bars in the lathe. So Simon said he had a spare one of those and he'd send it over. So Simon, thank you very much indeed. I will add that to my little arsenal of tools for my lathe, for the old Boxford. It's a bloody good bit of kit, actually, is the old lathe. I use it quite a bit. Although I do have a problem with it. I've got to fix the problem. We've been working around the problem for a long time, where there's some kind of thermal protection switch on the lathe. And if you use it for even 10 or 15 minutes under a bit of heavy load, it turns off. So we have to cool the switch down with the airline to get it to work again. So I think that thermal switch has failed. It's on the way out. Jeez, Simon. Obviously, lots of spare tape in your workshop, or there was. Okay. Oh, another one, a bigger one. Look at that. Wow. Okay, well, I think it's the smaller one that will fit the lathe. I'm not sure about this one. And I'm not sure what the little screw's for either. Interesting. I'll have to do some more research. I've never had any of those, so it's a whole new ball game. Maybe Kevin at Machine NZ will give you some pointers. Or Simon. Simon knows what they're for. Oh, we've got more. Look at this. Wow. Oh, okay. What have we got here? Oh, an adapter. Look at, for drill bits, I believe. Look at that. Very cool. That probably will work in the milling machine, actually. Cool. Okay. I only got a little bit of lathe training when I was at school, and we didn't cover that much, to be fair. So it's always, it's not a mechanic. Our main job isn't using a lathe. We most of us can use lathes, and a lot of the workshops around New Zealand do still have a little lathe sat in the corner of the workshop that gets used for cleaning up armatures and shafts and bits and pieces. Ah, I remember what this is. This is a little scan tool that Simon had spare. So this is going to be this is brilliant, Simon. Thank you. This is going to work on the monkey bike, and it's got the correct connector and everything. And that looks to be the same connector as on the ones we use at work. Can't mention the brand, obviously. Okay, but I think the monkey bike had a different connector on it, and that's why we've probably got an adapter in here. So we've got here Stratton metric. Oh, hang on. No. 3.5 millimeters. Okay, let's have a look. Let's see what we've got in here. Ooh, M42 drill bits for stainless steel. 3.5 mil, 5 pieces. Ooh, they look cool. They look very cool. So they're obviously super hard drill bits for stainless steel. So we can give those a go at some point. Now, is that the hinge? No, that's the hinge at the back. So this must be the opening bit. Bear with me, people. There we go. Oh, there we are. There's a little tab. Got one side. They're obviously a very strong box for very strong built drill bits. There we are. Beautiful. Thank you, Simon. We will definitely give those a go. I will treasure those, and I will not break any of them, I promise. Cool. Not heard of that brand before, so it'll be interesting to see how they get on. It's always good to have a good arsenal. So we've got the scan tool, and this is obviously OBD scan tool by OBD Moto. Look at that. And that's the part number MST601 Pro. So it's not your regular one, it's the Pro. And another part number on the back, or maybe serial number on the back. Very clean and tidy, Simon. And of course we've got the adapter. So this, no doubt, I would suggest will probably work on a car as well. That's the standard OBD2 connection for cars. And then we've got an adapter here, look, which will take it down to motorcycle. That is really cool. And what I'll do is I'll plug this in, and I've got a bike here actually at the moment that I can do it on, a brand new model actually, and I can see what information this will give me compared to the manufacturer's scan tool. So that could be really cool. Might even make a video on that actually one day, maybe release it to the world. Very cool. And it hasn't got too many buttons, so Andy should be okay. Wow, Simon, you have done me proud. Thank you very much, matey. Mrs. Mechanic is in the process of putting together a pack to send to you as well, so I'll let you know when that's on its way. Right, turn you around, crew. 3, 2, 1, boom. I'm back. Terrible cam work as always. And it looks like the picture's picked up, so that's not bad, is it? Okay, I'm back. Yes, I'm back. Oh, it's not too easy sitting at the end of this shelf anymore because it's got end of the bench. It's got Mrs. Mechanic's shelf that was on the sandblasting cabinet because she was doing a lot of drilling not too long ago. So she has her own special height drill, so she can reach the little lever and do thousands and thousands. She's very good at drilling, actually. You can give her a project to do, and she will stand there and drill literally thousands and thousands of holes. She's a machine. She really is. Now, you guys have been flat out while I've been bumbling along. Yes, so I'm sorry I can't teach about EVs for many, many reasons, as already discussed. First video, how to set fire to an EV. Do you need to? I mean, I'm pretty sure most of them do it on their own, right? They're programmed to set fire to themselves. God, that would get the public worried, wouldn't it, if it came out? Imagine another scandal like that, where, you know, it's not a case of having two maps in the diesel engine cars, and there was a recent problem with one of the main engine manufacturers recently doing the same thing for Ram vehicle. Was it Cummins? They got pinged for that. But imagine if somebody set out a rumor, not me, obviously, I wouldn't dream of doing that because the lawsuits would be massive. But although you're not targeting a particular brand, imagine if it came out that they were programming EVs to deliberately set fire to themselves after, I don't know, a year or 2 years of ownership. That will be an interesting one because they've got the potential to be able to do that. Yeah. Watch this space. Could be a scandal out there. Might be proved right. Now then, Pete Woodfine. Is it a good idea having a really bright back end? Hey, the lights are free. They go up, right? And they're only held up with cable ties because there's no mounts on the lights. The clips are obviously left in place from the place that they came out of. So Ben just got given the lights themselves. I mean, sure, I could have made some nice metal clamps for them and stuff, but a couple of cable ties, job's a carrot. I don't know how long they'll last because they are second hand, so easy up, easy down is what I say. Mike Adams, riddle me this. Why do vehicle manufacturers make a switch on a dash simple to get out when you can get it? Hang on. When you can get it, but getting to it almost impossible. That's right, a little clip at the back and out comes the switch. But often you've got to take a lot of panels and bits and pieces off to be able to finish the job and to gain access. Manufacturers, it's very clear, do not look at the serviceability or repairing of vehicles with any real importance. To them, what is by far the most important is the assembly process. Speed and efficiency is all they're bothered about, and how long it takes to actually do a repair on a particular component. It's of no interest to them. That's for the mechanic to sort out and the customer to pay. That's how it seems to be, doesn't it? And it's only getting worse. The real Daz, the boosted boys are a Honda drag racing channel. They recently converted a Tesla to a Honda. Oh, hang on. They recently converted to a Tesla to a Honda minivan and made it really fast. Well, electric vehicles do have the potential to be extremely quick. You know, we've seen the McLarens and was it the P1 and stuff that come out, which are supercars that are essentially electric. Sure, they've got, you know, a proper engine in there as well, most of them. But even the pure electric cars, some of the Teslas are extremely fast off the line. It's just the way it is, isn't it? You know, if you've got hub drive motors and stuff as well, then you've got incredibly good stability. The ECU can control that wheel speed and the torque to each wheel very, very accurately and very quickly. giving it really good stability and really good sort of maximizing the available traction without compromising it and stepping over the line. But they sound like shit, don't they? Basically, I like petrol engines and diesel engines, and that's just what I've been brought up with, and that's what I'll stick with. And I don't care what anybody says, to be honest. It's just my choice. I understand how they work. I enjoy fixing them, and I think they're incredibly reliable. And they usually, or have the older ones, like the old Patrol we have, um, you can fix it yourself. You're not held to ransom by having to have all the correct diagnostic gear and special tools and bits and pieces, which many vehicles require these days. Simon, I'll have to check out that YouTube channel actually when I get a chance. It won't be today because I'm pretty packed out. I've got to get up to Auckland later on. Simon, I'm not even going to say that word. Golly, that's taken a kicking in the post. Partly my fault, Simon. When I collected that from the PO box, my return journey home was on a motorcycle and not in a car or a ute. Earlier that week, I'd taken a ute and a trailer that I'd collected from Queenstown back to Auckland. Wanted that out of the way. And of course, my company ute, was here at home. So all of a sudden, I was in this dilemma of how do I get home? And the ultimate answer to that was I grabbed a motorcycle out of the warehouse, loaded all my gear on, and headed home. I knew that that was going to be a possibility, so I travelled as light as I possibly could. But even then, there was a fair bit of gear to get on the back of the bike, and it didn't have panniers and stuff. So your parcel got bungeed down right on the top of all the other stuff, and I wanted to make damn sure it wasn't going to fall off. So it did get crushed down a little bit with some little straps and things, but not over the top. And due to your phenomenally good packing, everything obviously is fine. I mean, the scan tool looks perfect. So good job, mate. Thank you for that. You saved the day. But I did stop a few times to check on the straps and make sure everything was secure, and it was just fine. It wasn't a problem. Not once did it move. It was well strapped down. Mike Adams. For instance, a light switch in my old Ford, you have to press a release button to get the knob out of the switch to get the panel off it. Wow. Yeah, and it's not just a case of actually, dismantling a particular component or taking the component off to replace it. You've also got like integrated circuits as well. I remember a long time ago, Sam might remember this. There was a case of, I think it was a Ford Focus, and the interior light wasn't working, and that affected the running of the car. I mean, really? There's no logic between those two circuits. Sorry, human logic between those two circuits. You would never think that they would have any kind of link between them, how one could affect the other. And that was quite a few years ago, and it just suddenly made me think, golly, is that how cars are going? Where everything is linked and any kind of fault could create another fault on the vehicle that's completely unrelated, only because it shares a particular circuit or whatever. And the answer to that is yes. That's, we see it on Ivan's videos a lot, where you've got multiple failures through the vehicle, and he'll often target the most easiest thing to check first and then start to work backwards. It's an interesting scenario, and it does mean that diagnostic time can be very, very long. It can take a long time to track things down, which again, makes it very expensive for the customer. I'm pretty confident that there'd be a lot of people out there much happier to go back to an older style car, and pretty cheap to buy, pretty cheap to run, easy to maintain. Sure, it uses maybe a bit more petrol than a modern car, but it's, just easy to look after, and it's not a huge risk to your bank account. Modern cars, if something goes wrong, it can get very expensive very quick. I mean, look at your LED headlights. It's not a case of just putting a new bulb in anymore. It's usually a completely new headlight unit. And we're not talking a few dollars for a bulb. We're talking sometimes, well, obviously hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars to replace that headlight unit. Absolutely ridiculous, in all honesty. But people don't look at those costs when they look at buying that particular model of car. They just don't think about it. It looks nice. Ooh, we'll have one of those, you know? Crazy. Simon, the bigger one will fit, will fit the tailstock, and the adapter should fit the headstock. Ah, okay, got that. Thanks, Simon. Appreciate that, and thank you again for sending those items over. I do really appreciate it, and looking forward to getting the scan tool on the monkey. We'll do a little video on that. Now then, Mike Adams, but you can't get to the release button to get the knob because the knob holds the panel on, blocking access to the release button. I've been in a very similar situation recently, not vehicular based, but yes, chicken and egg. And you try and explain it to somebody. I mean, I get what you're saying totally. I was trying to explain my dilemma to people that I have to work with, and just didn't get it. Just like, well, just make it work. And he said, well, I can't. I'm stuck in this loop. You know, we need to do something differently. Anyway, I did get it sorted out in the end, but what a palaver. So basically, the manufacturer's putting you in an impossible situation. Yes, that's what with the first time. Right, hang on a minute. We've got loads of comments. Daz, what is the OBD2 equivalent for motorcycles? Well, it sort of hasn't quite settled down yet, I don't think, but because the Honda, the monkey bike, has got a different plug to this one, I think. I'm not sure. Maybe it is that one. If it is that one, we're good to go. I'm sure it will be because Simon looked it up. So right, so this is the standardized OBD plug for motorcycle. Now, the original OBD2 for cars, as many of you know, that one, pretty sure it's that one. It looks identical to the ones I can remember. That was standardized amongst cars, was it early 90s, I think? I mean, I remember a time where Land Rover, Jaguar, BMW, Mercedes, they all had their own style of diagnostic coupling on the wiring harness. And I remember, even when I was here in New Zealand, when I first came across and I was working at a Firestone, they had a big suitcase with all the different adapter plugs for all the different brands of cars, so they could connect their very basic scan tool to that particular car. And it was always a nightmare because often you didn't have the right connector, and they were very expensive to buy. Usually on the same car, or moving forward a couple of years, the manufacturer would keep that bespoke connector, their own connector, but they'd also have to legally fit an OBD2 plug to the car as well, which would give basic information, fault codes, that kind of thing, so you could diagnose the vehicle. But it was very limited in the information. Motorcycle manufacturers came under the same remit through Europe, through the legislation there, but they pushed back very, very hard for many years, and it was a much delayed before motorcycles adopted the same kind of philosophy or requirement to have an OBD2 plug. I think it only came out for my exposure to it here in New Zealand maybe 4 years ago. Probably 4 years ago, I would say, that we started to get models coming across to New Zealand that you could connect an OBD2 connector to and get some kind of data. So interesting times, it really is. And of course, you know, as Simon's proved, you can go online and you can buy a relatively cheap basic scan tool. This one's probably one of the better ones, known Simon. I think I've seen them on Trade Me, which is our eBay equivalent here in New Zealand, for like $100 from China, and it allows you to read fault codes and to clear fault codes and that kind of stuff. But they don't give you a lot of information. You probably see live data as well, going into the ECU from the sensors, and of course, the readings for the actuators as well, so ignition timing and that kind of stuff. injection duration. But still nothing like what the manufacturer's scan tool will provide. But of course, the aftermarket boys are getting better and better, and they're working out different ways of obtaining that information from the ECU, maybe tricking it a little bit to give it give the customer more information on their aftermarket scan tools. In the automotive industry, again, they're way ahead. I mean, we've seen Ivan using the launch in bits and pieces where he can pretty much access nearly everything. The only stuff that he can't really do is unless he buys a license, is to do reprogramming of modules and stuff sometimes on certain brands. But very interesting stuff. I do enjoy Ivan's videos. He's a very, very clever lad. He really is. Oh, there goes the pie. We'll give it 2 minutes. Now then, where do we get to? Oh, hang on, scrolling back. Got to scroll back again. Right. Simon, look in the drill bit packet. It will do. Oh, hang on. Look in the drill bit packet. Look in the drill bit. Oh, there's more. Thank you, Simon. I really think I would have missed that. What does he say? Look in the drill packet. It will do basic OBD on cars and basic on bike and bike ABS. Cool. So we can put it on the Jimny as well. That'll be interesting. Find out what's going on, and it might help us with there might be some hidden codes, because not all fault codes give you an engine management light. So there might be the odd code that gives you some direction as to what that noise is from the front end and why it's every now and again the vehicle pulls to one side very, very loud. Simon, you sent me is it a 50p? It looks like a 50p, or is it an anniversary one? Oh, Charles, look at that, 50 pence. It's the new King Charles III. Bloody hell, new King Charles 50 pence. Wow, it feels a lot lighter than the original, and I think it's a different shape. I mean, I didn't used to deal with a lot of coins when I was back in the UK. We used to just do credit card or bank card or notes. I used to give all my change to the kids. That was their pocket money. Bloody hell, interesting stuff. Thank you, Simon. Mrs. Mechanic will be the holder of that. She'll look after it, because for me it will end up in a drawer and disappear somewhere. She'll put that in our cabinet in the lounge. I'm sure she will. Right, let's put it on the laptop for now. Thank you very much. And I wouldn't have spotted that. I am terrible for not. It was stuck down the bottom. That's my defense. Okay, so very cool little scan tool. The fact that it'll do cars as well, and I thought that would be the case. So thank you, Simon. That's going to be a pretty interesting piece of kit to use, actually. Won't have time to use it today, but maybe next weekend we'll get the Jimmy in the workshop and we'll take a look. Okay, a couple more comments and then we'll go and find the pie. Roger Heaps. Hey, good morning, Roger. Welcome back to the workshop, mate. Looks like the old internet settled down a bit for us now. Roger says, good morning, Andy and crew. A bit late today. Roger, I was at least a minute late to my own live stream this morning. And my sincere apologies. It's very rare that happens, but time just got the better of me. So I'm sorry. Simon, the real Daz. Bikes run basic OBD2 protocol too. They do now. They have to do. It's legislated into the design of the bike, isn't it? They've got to give the customer the access to that level of data. The real Daz. Thanks, Simon. Connor K. Haven't heard about Tesla semi-trucks in a while. Why is great acceleration rate a marketing tool? Fast acceleration in a truck will only move the load to the back doors and smash everything to bits. I totally agree. And also, just going back to the cars, Connor, we've got the general public now who are used to driving normal cars, suddenly decide to go and buy one of these high performance Teslas where they can accelerate at a much, much higher rate. I think the chances of an accident is, because they maybe don't have the skill set to handle a vehicle like that, I think the chances of an accident is much higher. does the public really need a car that will accelerate that quickly? Once only for supercars, and now the general public's got their hands on, a vehicle with that kind of performance. And the question is, do they need it? And the answer is no, they don't. Um, it's just, it's not necessary in my book. It's like everybody getting onto a Hayabusa. You've got that kind of performance, which not all motorcyclists need it. And I'm sure some people have bought that particular model of car not for the performance, but they've got it anyway, and it might catch them a bit unawares. So yeah, not necessary really. Where do we get to? Boom, 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 boom. Simon, come on, the Ford blown light bulb needs a scan tool to reset the BCM to make the lamp work. That's just ridiculous, isn't it? The bulb fails and you need a scan tool to make it work again once you fit in the new bulb. It's just mental. The way the world's going, it really is. I sound like an old guy complaining, but where's the common sense gone? Surely even the current generation can go, why would you need to do that? It's just silly, isn't it, really? I mean, sure, I can understand manufacturers wanting to make the customer bring their car back to the dealership for any kind of fault. Anything that goes wrong, whether it's a bulb that blows, a tyre that goes flat, because you've got your tyre pressure sensors and stuff, anything like that, bring it back, sir, we will fix it and we will charge you. Yes, it creates more revenue, but is it fair on the customer? Probably not really, to hold them to ransom over every single slightest repair. And of course, for the aftermarket lads, they have to purchase all the equipment to be able to work on those particular cars. So it's sort of holding them to ransom as well in some respects. Not an income stream for the manufacturer of the car, but even so, it's a huge expense for car repair shops now to keep up to date with the necessary diagnostic tools. If you don't, you can't do your job. It's as simple as that. So again, you've got to on-charge that to your customer. And at the end of the day, the customer just pays through the nose for any kind of repairs, which would have cost a fraction or not even be necessary on an older car, i.e. changing a headlight bulb. It's just dumb. It really is just dumb. It's the human race being really dumb. Mike Adams, my old Ford I'm working on is a 47-year-old. Thank God I don't have computers to deal with on it. I used to have an old Daihatsu F55 pickup truck. It was a 2.5 four-cylinder diesel, non-turbo. It was pretty damn slow. It was pretty underwhelming on the performance side of things, but it was very low geared in low ratio. It had a high and low, big transfer box. All the drivetrain was super strong, not quite as strong as the Patrols, but it was still pretty good. And I paid for that vehicle £200, and it was in Selby, just southeast of York, on the way to Hull. And it was in somebody's front garden. It could have been a farm, not too sure, long time ago. It was sort of in front of their house, covered in bushes and grass and all sorts of stuff. And it was blue, so it stood out pretty well. And I spotted it, and we'd recently purchased an old Daihatsu F50 that we called Edgar, which I'd fixed up, and that was Mrs. Mechanic's daily drive. We used it for the off-road centre as well. And when I saw a pickup version, I thought, oh, I've got to have that. So the guy took £200 off my hands. I then put it on Dad's car trailer and towed it home behind my Suzuki Jeep. Massively overweight, probably weighed in at 2.25 ton with a trailer behind a little Suzuki that could only tow up to a ton legally. So needless to say, it was a very slow journey home, and it was quite hilly as well. So we made it back, got the vehicle off the trailer, went through it, did some welding work and bits and pieces, and got an MOT on it. It wasn't too hard. And I used old Charlie truck as my daily drive for 5, maybe 6 years. And it was a top little truck. Sure, things broke. I broke leaf springs. I broke the back diff. I had prop shafts to rebuild. I even had to strip the gearbox down and replace synchro on first gear. Was it first or second? I can't remember now, but one of them I had to replace the synchro. All of which I did myself, and I was only this is when I was only like 22 years old. Hadn't really had any formal training other than being at college, doing a 2-year technical course in the automotive field. But I was pretty hands-on, and nothing really scared me. I'd just pull it apart, understand how it worked, replace the parts, put it back together. Simple as that. And I did the synchro mesh on the gearbox in a day. I remember driving to Dad's garage because he had a hoist, putting old Charlie on the hoist. I had a spare gearbox. It was only a 4-speed, where it was a 5-speed in Charlie truck, and dropped the gearbox out. So I had to split the transfer box off, drop the gearbox down, strip the gearbox, replace the synchros. I take them out of the other gearbox, put them in, rebuild the gearbox, put it back in the truck, and I drove home at 5 o'clock. When he closed the garage. That was pretty impressive. And the mechanics that were working there at the time were, you could see them watching me thinking, yeah, it's the boss's son. He has no idea what he's doing. This will be a laugh. And I had to prove them wrong. And I got it all put together, and it was fine. No problems whatsoever. So easy to fix. No modules to reprogram, basic stuff. And I like that. That's what I've grown up with. Sorry, might be sounding old, but, keep it simple. It works. Jim Haynes, 1996. What's 1996? What's 1996? Thanks, Jim. The Real Daz, I think it was 1996, but did not come... Oh, that was the OBD2 stuff, okay. But it did not come standardized till after 2000-ish. Because I have a couple of cars that are from 2000 and they don't all work with the OBD2 as the newer cars. There was definitely some lag time for all the different manufacturers to get on board, for sure. Thank you for that. Mike Adams, common sense has become illegal in some places, I think. Yeah, it really has. Simon, I do get it. The BCM is protecting itself from big voltage spikes, but why not have an option on the main screen menu? Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, give the customer the option. Did a bulb blow? Yes, I've replaced it. Click, off you go. Right, pie time. Let's go and grab that pie because I'm getting hungry. And I've still no idea what the hell's in that pie. Let's find out. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, boom. It's had a good few minutes to settle now. No excuses pie. So we've got some pretty big crack around the top. I suspected that was going to happen. Yeah, almost a crack right across the base as well. There's a few cracks in there. Okay, we'll shut the lid. We'll keep the ratties out. Oh, we've got a mouse in the workshop, by the way. There's definitely a mouse there. Look, we'll put it on the plate. How's that? Because the plate's about the only clean thing in this workshop at the moment. Okay, turn you around. 3, 2, 1. Boom. There we go. That should work. Oh, it does smell very chickeny. Okay. Get rid of the Glad wrap. We don't need that. Okay, where do we get to? The giant scan tools are expensive, and then you need to pay for the updates, which as well are not cheap. They're not. They've got you over a barrel. It's as simple as that. If you're going to go into that world, you need it. But having that, Simon, that basic tool that you sent through is really cool. I'm very interested to see how much you can do on it, what information it'll give me. And I can compare that, mentally to the official scan tool that we use at work, and to see it from the perspective of a tech that doesn't work in a main dealership. What kit has he got available to do diagnosis? And that should be quite enlightening, I think. Right, Vijay done that. The Real Daz, the boosted Boys Tesla swap is called the Plaidacy. It is a Tesla chassis with a Honda Odyssey body attached to it, and is extremely fast. They are known for Honda VTEC making 9-second passes. Holy crap, that is quick. Pete, Andy, the pie is getting cold. It is. We're going in. Right, we've got the big crack on the side. Other than that, it's not too bad, so we'll start there. I am very hungry, so that's going to be a bit of a bias, I'm sure. I'm just grateful to eat something at the moment. Normally, I would have had some toast by now, but I came straight outside because I was running late. Okay, so what have we got? Taste, stroke, flavour. Now, obviously, this is from my perspective. I'm sure, like this is mechanic, there are some people out there that like chicken pies. I'm not a great fan of chicken pies. But whatever it is, it's not over spicy, but there is a little bit of a kick to it. If you have a look inside, you can see, oh geez, thumb's sinking through the pie. So the base is super, super soft. You can see a lump of chicken up there, look, hiding. And this is all pretty, I mean, look, it's like 5 mil thick is the pie. It's just ridiculous, isn't it? There's just hardly any filling whatsoever. And that's sort of what you get when you buy the multi-pack pies. They're not the same as when you buy the pie individually. They definitely seem to thin them down a bit. Not ideal. Okay. Overall taste, stroke, flavour. I can base it on a chicken pie. It's warm. I think if it was cold, it would taste disgusting, to be fair. So I'm going to give it a 4 for the taste of the contents flavour. Okay. Big chunk of chicken. Pretty hot. You might, holy crap, you might just be able to see the steam coming out. It is a bit spicy. It is. Butter chicken. That's what it is. It's bloody butter chicken. There you go. And I'll quite happily eat butter chicken on a plate with some rice. No worries. But in a pie with pastry, it's a bit odd. Okay, Stracciatella partners. It's not bad, actually. There's hardly any pastry. I mean, it's a bit soft on the base, but it hasn't broken through. So as long as you hold it around the rim here, it's pretty solid. If you go into the middle, it gets a bit soggy, to be fair. Okay. So, we've got to be fair here. Stracciatella partners, it's pretty good. And a crack. We'll give it 9. No, we'll give it 8 because the base is pretty soggy. We'll give it 8. 8's fair. Runnability test. 45 degrees for 30 seconds. Can you see any kind of movement at all? I really don't suspect there to be any movement. First of all, the section is very, very small, the depth of contents. So you're going to get that grip effect on the pastry. It's not particularly flowy either. So, you know, it's pretty solid. I can even give it a bit of a wiggle around and nothing's going to fall out. So we'll give it a full 10 for that. I think it's a pass. Can't ask for any better than that one. Okay, meat quality. Well, just as it happens, a big chunk of chicken sticking out. So we'll try that. I say big, I've already eaten half of it. It's real chicken. That's nice to know. It's not bad. I mean, there's some pretty awful chicken out on the market at the moment, isn't there? But that wasn't too bad at all. Okay, so meat quality, chicken. I've had better. I'll give it an 8. Wasn't too bad. Now, if we get a big lumpy bit of chicken in there later on, that score will plummet. Pie to crust ratio. Well, this is the contents volume versus the amount of pastry that the pie is made up with. And as you can see, it's going to score pretty poor. There's a lot of pastry and hardly any filling. And that's bad for a pie. It's pretty disappointing, to be fair. So I am going to give it, and that's one of the worst we've ever seen. I'm going to give it a 3. I think 3 is pretty poor. I'm sure you could get worse. You know, there could be practically no filling in there. So we can't go down to just 1, but it's bad. It's highly disappointing, is that, to be fair. Another big chunk of chicken. That's great. Okay. So availability stroke logistics. This is a Ben's pie. Actually, Ben bought it, so it was Ben's pie, but it's made by a company called Ben's Pies. And these multi-packs are available only through supermarkets. But there's a lot of supermarkets around New Zealand, and because it's supermarkets, you can order them online as well. They will arrive frozen, so you've got to defrost them and then heat them up. So it's not an instant fix, unfortunately, but they are readily available, and supermarkets will do home delivery as well. So even if you can't get your Tesla to charge up, they will bring the pie to you. Or maybe your Tesla's caught fire, or your Polestar, or whatever other brand of EV stupid car it is. So pretty available, to be fair. So I'm going to have to give them a pretty high score for that. I'm going to give them... There is a downside that you can't eat the pie straight away. So all of your normal pie satisfaction reward stuff when you're out traveling and want to pop into a petrol station or a dairy to eat a pie, you can't eat this pie. Sure, you could buy a Ben's pie on its own that's in a pie warmer. Pardon me, that was a burp. But that's not this pie. This pie seems to be less, basically. It could be a little bit smaller, but certainly the contents are way down. So I'm only going to score this based on it being a multi-pack pie. And we'll make that clear on the little magnetic tab that we put on the list. So it's going to lose some points for not being eatable when you purchase. That's the point I'm trying to make. I'm going to give it a 7. I think that's a fair score, because don't forget, not all supermarkets will stock Ben's pies. Okay, so another little scan, another big chunk of chicken. Look, this is pretty good. The meat quality is pretty good. It's not looking too bad, but there's not a lot of contents, and I do stress that. If you were eating this pie now, I think you'd have much preferred to eat something different. It's not the best. It isn't. And Mrs. Mechanic, she does eat them, but she sort of tolerates them because it's one of the few pies that she can eat. I feel very sorry for her that she can't eat the nice big steak and cheese pies that I have, because they are brilliant. A million times better than this. So pastry taste rating. So I'm going to steal a bit of pastry off the corner here. Hopefully there's no sauce on it. Nope. Well, it's pretty bland. In fact, it's very bland. This pie is completely reliant on the flavour of the contents to give it any kind of reasonable flavouring. That is just bog standard pastry. There's nothing else in there at all to give it any kind of flavour. So, bland pastry. It's not burnt, and it's not really undercooked either. So I'm going to give it a 4. We've tasted much better pastry than that over the years. Still tasty when cold? No, I think it'll taste like shit when it's cold. So I'm going to give it a 1. Somebody would like it somewhere in the world. Packaging design. Well, I haven't got it with me actually, but it's like a plastic tray with some cling film over the top, and the pies are in it. So yes, you can see what you're buying. There's a sticker on it saying Ben's Pies and what the filling is. It's not very inspiring, really, is it? It's not very themed. There's not a lot of graphics on it. It's a bit better than a paper bag, but 3. I'll give it a 3. Okay. I don't think there was a lot of design time went into putting it together, which is a shame, because when you're browsing down the aisle of a supermarket wanting to buy a multi-pack of pies, as humans have proven many times over the years, it's the one that looks the nicest, that's got the best packaging, will often be the one that gets sold. Although maybe people that are buying multi-pack pies are on a budget and they just go for the cheapest. And if it looks budget, they'll buy it. I don't know. Could be some reverse psychology going on there. Recyclable score. Well, the plastic tray normally isn't. So it's not really very recyclable at all, to be honest. So I don't think any of it is. It gets 0. I'm going by what's recyclable in our area. Our recycling team that are coming around at the moment. I don't blame the lads directly. They've obviously had a change in the rules, but probably 50% of what Mrs. Mechanic puts out for recycling, and she washes everything, she does everything she's supposed to do. And if they reject one item in the bin, they often don't take the whole bin. They'll just say, nah, not taking it, and they'll just move on to the next one. So we end up with it, still full. So if things continue the way they are, I've said to Mrs. Mechanic, we'll just go back to what we did in the UK. We're just going to put it out with the rubbish. We're just going to put it in a rubbish bag. We're not going to waste any more of your time trying to prep these items for the lads just to go, no, we're not taking it. To try and nitpick and find a particular reason. So yeah, we diversify. But the point is, the packaging for these pies isn't recyclable. Not the multi-pack pies. In this area, in my opinion. I wish I had the packaging here with me now, but I don't. Post pie heartburn. I've had a couple of burps so far, so we're down to 8. I don't feel too bad, to be fair, but it is quite a spicy pie, and knowing what my stomach is like, this is probably going to bite me later on. Okay. Stuffability score. Well, to do that, I have to eat the pie first. So this is the last bit. Here we go. A very underwhelming pie. A bit of flaky pastry. It's not too bad, actually. We've had most of it's on the plate, to be fair. Pretty good. Right, we're going. Say goodbye to the chickeny pie thing. I've forgotten what pie it was again. Put it in the comments. I mentioned it earlier on. Oh, butter chicken. That was it. Butter chicken. Okay. Got to remember that. I keep forgetting it. Stuffability score. Am I still hungry? Yeah, I'd really like some toast. Something that I actually like the flavour of. With some dripping butter on there. Some of that fruit toast is nice. I wonder if we've got any of that left. So, am I stuffed? No, I'm not. So, I'm below 10. Still hungry. I'm going to give it a 6. I think that was pretty crap. I don't know how Mrs. Mechanic can cope with that kind of stuff. Pie server attractiveness. Came from a supermarket. Ben bought them. I have no idea what type of person, human, or maybe use the self-serve checkout. Ben's usually pretty good at that. I don't know. I'm just going to give it a generic 5. I don't know the answer to that one. I'm not even going to try to guess. I have to be transparent and honest with these pie reviews, and I think middle of the road 5 is about as fair as I can be on that one. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, got 13. All the scores are in, so we can do some arithmetic. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Boom! Oh, there you go. Somebody's got the grass. Oh, that was another burp, by the way, so we'll just drop another mark. Going down. So that is not an 8. That is a 7 now. Okay. Nose is starting to run for some reason. Probably hay fever. Okay, so we've got 12, 22, 30, 33, 40, 44, 45, 48, 55, 61, 66. Well, 66 is, as you well know, woeful. So, yes, well, not a very exciting pie at all. Not my choice. All we had in the freezer. Had to eat it. I've experienced it. I know to stay well away from Mrs. Mechanic's pies now. Okay, so it was a Big Ben. So a Big Ben's pie. Literally. And it was butter chicken, wasn't it? Nearly forgot again. and it got 66. Now, what was the main thing that we didn't like about that pie? Pretty shit taste. What else didn't we like about it? Nasty cold. There we go. I think that's pretty damning, isn't it? Okay, we need to go and find out where this is going to fit on the leaderboard. 66 for Big Ben's butter chicken. Now, if somebody else that likes butter chicken pies would have scored this pie, and maybe not eaten very many other pies around New Zealand, then they might have scored it a bit higher. But this is my score, and I'm sticking with it. Oh my God. Right, so we're on the back side of the cupboard, or the side of the cupboard. So I'm just going to move that one up. There we go, make a space. Okay, so it ties in with the Bakehouse Cafe steak and cheese. Wow, I can't believe that a butter chicken pie that must have been a really bad steak and cheese. That's all I can say. There we go. It's there. It's on the leaderboard. Very, very near to the bottom. Worst score ever, 41, 58. What the hell was that one? Westie pie, steak and cheese. Full of gristle. I remember that one. Yes. So discounting that one, something that wasn't full of gristle, we've got Big Ben again. Look, Big Ben classic steak and cheese. It's actually scored higher than the Big Ben's. Wow. So the butter chicken, so we got 64 there, steak, cheese and bacon as well. So basically Big Ben pies are pretty crap in the mix, really, aren't they? You know, they're all way down on the leaderboard. Not good. And for a butter chicken pie to score higher, especially out of a multi-pack, than their steak and cheese, well, that's saying something, isn't it? Okay, back to the bench. There we go. Boom, 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 boom. Now, I've got to sort this camera out. It's all over the place. Okay. Now, we are 1 hour and 23 minutes in. We've only got an hour and a half. And he's got lots of stuff to do today. So we'll have one more cigarette and then we'll call it a day. Oh, I am tired. I'm really tired. Working too hard, Andy. That's what it is. Very pleased to have the roof finished, though. That's been a massive benefit for us. It's just it was a big project and one that we pretty much smashed out. You know, went in all guns blazing. And then before that, we did the workstations. Oh, and I'm going to be finishing the workstation for the last video in that series. I'm going to be finishing it today, editing it up maybe today. In fact, most of it's already edited. I've just got the last little bit to do. So that might even get uploaded today before I leave for Auckland. Let's find out. Who knows what's going to happen today? Okay, where did I get to? Let's have a look. Boom, 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 boom. Simon, it's very basic. That's the OBD Motor scan tool. It's very basic versus YDT. Be interesting though. Interesting to see what the differences are. For Giant, what is a good cutting paste for cutting threads? Well, for cutting threads, I use the, bear with me. This stuff is brilliant. I use it a lot for drilling holes and cutting threads. Yes, I know Jared supplies these for me. I do buy them, by the way, most of them anyway. But it's the Forge drilling and cutting foam, and it is, I can't say how good it is. It's absolutely phenomenal. And one can lasts a very, very long time. It's got 400 mils in there, and you don't need much, but it makes a huge difference. Your drill bits stay sharp for a hell of a lot longer. When I was doing all those countersinks on the plates for the footwells, those kits we were making, I was doing literally thousands of countersinks, and the countersink was still good and sharp at the end of it. Sure, it had worn a little bit, but we did a comparison test of doing some without the foam and some with, and the difference very quickly became apparent. So I'd recommend that. I'm sure there are equivalent products out there as well, but this one works really, really well. Very happy with it, and I'll continue to buy it from now on. Not sure if it's available where you are, Vijay, but you know you can maybe show them a picture of that, and you know, your supplier might go, oh yes, we can supply something very similar. Mike Adams, I just now got the switch out of the dash. Some of the plastic parts of the switch just crumbled almost into dust due to its age. Wow, yeah, plastic, especially plastic here in New Zealand that's exposed to the sunlight, degrades very, very quickly now. Another reason why I want to build the side port, because when I'm doing filming, all my bikes and motorcycles are all outside in the sunshine or the rain, which is not good. Under the side port, they'll be in the shade, cool, and of course they won't get wet. So that would be a major benefit to me. Okay, where do we get to? The real Downs, the supermarket pies in New Zealand are crap compared to how they used to be. They're almost, some of them, I can't, you know, obviously the Big Ben ones we've done some research on. I wouldn't even contemplate buying them anymore. I know Ben buys them, and he to him it's a pie, and it sort of does the job. He's not very picky when it comes to food and quality of food. He just, once he's satisfied his hunger, job done. And he does tend to be very financially conscious. He doesn't like spending a lot of money on food. So maybe that's why he went down that route. And I mean, end of the day, Mrs. Mechanic, she's not too bad with them. She'll eat them, and she's very grateful that Ben's thought about bringing some pies home with him, which is nice. But I wouldn't buy them. Mike Adams, I've never seen that happen before. A little brittle, yes, but to just crumble like it's a first for me. It's just structurally broken down, hasn't it? It's just end of life. And almost maybe potentially just a design factor, you know, where they're giving vehicles a finite period of time. Although, you know, that was quite old, to be fair. The closest thing we have to the meat pies that you get there are hot pockets and burritos. You heat in the microwave at the store. Yeah, I'm very surprised that some other countries don't have pies. You know, they're actually really good. And you know, maybe somebody should try. I mean, I suppose it's culture, but somebody should maybe try to launch a pie company. You know, and sell pies in your side of the world. I picked up on that, Mike. Thanks. The real Daz. How long has the pie review been going now? Well, it started, I think, during COVID. It was something else that we could do. Obviously, getting the pies wasn't the easiest thing, but you know, I started the live streams because of COVID, because it was a way of reaching out to my audience and connecting with the world and getting some kind of feedback as to what was going on. And you guys are interested in what was going on here as a country as well. There was lots of different countries taking different tactics towards dealing with the problem, and it was interesting to compare those tactics and to see how things were going. You know, things like lockdowns and stuff. But that's all in the past. We are far from getting back to normal, that's for sure. We live in a very different world now than we did before that issue arose. I have to be very careful with my wording, because YouTube have algorithms that listen out for that kind of stuff, and sometimes it can cause the video to get blocked. But yes, a real issue, and we've all changed as a result of it. It's bizarre, it really is. So probably been going on what, 3 years, 3.5 years now, something like that. It's been a long time. It really has. A lot of pies, and you can tell. I mean, the shirts still fit, but only just. The real Daz, on the wall of shame, most definitely on the wall of shame. Pete Woodfire, multi-pack. Andy, when do you change the clocks? I think it happens at Easter. Hang on, let's find out, because I don't know. It can't be that far away, because it's definitely getting better. Here's the sunshine. Oh, hang on, made a mistake. There we go. Try that one. Clocks change NZ 2024. Daylight saving. The next one is it can't be right. Oh, here we are. Look, that's better. Sunday the 7th of April, which is the weekend after Easter, isn't it? So Good Friday is the end of this month, end of March. So the weekend after that, I will forget, as we all do, and no doubt the live stream will be at a different time for most people, and I won't have announced it, so my apologies in advance. The clocks here in New Zealand are going to change again, as they do twice every year. Sunday the 7th of April is the next clocks change. Yes, and they spring forward for the start of summer, so they'll go back, so I get an extra hour in bed. So for you guys, the live stream on that particular Sunday, if there is one that Sunday, can't work it out in my head, will be essentially an hour later, be a 9:30 kickoff. There you go. How's that? Pretty organised. Not. But thank you for that. Appreciate it, Pete. For James, thank you, Andy. Always appreciate your advice. Oh, good, matey. Mike Adams, I'm going to look up that cutting foam you just showed. I've just been using 3-in-1 for drilling and threading. Seems what you use is much better and cost effective. It is. Honestly, I keep buying the cans, but I've still got 2 cans on the go. We always have 2 cans going because I can be drilling and Mrs. Mechanic drilling at the same time on 2 separate pillar drills, so we have a can each. And I haven't bought one for a while, and this is still a brand new can. Yeah, I've stolen the little straw off it, but the can has been unused. It's not expensive per drill, and when the drill's spinning in the chuck, if you spray, you've seen me on the videos, if you spray it up the drill bit to the chuck, then you can get 5 or 6 drill holes done as the foam works its way down the drill. It feeds the hole a little bit every time. It's not ideal. The best way is not to put it on the workpiece, in my opinion, because then your workpiece, you usually put too much on, so everything gets a bit sticky and you've got to clean everything off later on. If you spray it onto the drill bit, works a treat. Absolutely brilliant. And the same when you're tapping a hole, spray it onto the tap itself as opposed to in the hole that you're going to tap. So yeah, little top trick for you there. Simon, looking forward to working on my own bike next weekend. Well, that's a rarity, isn't it? Headstock bearings and braided lines. Then I can see how good the silver spot caliber upgrade is from the slide pins to mono. Very cool. On that note, Simon, is it here in New Zealand, if you've got braided lines on your bike, they have to be the crimped unions, the banjos? I brought a kit from the UK from years ago, which were the thread-on with the olive type unions. Are they still legal for MOT purposes in New Zealand on motorcycles, or have they adopted what we've got here, where you've got to have crimped braided hoses for the banjos? Interesting. Just a question. Now, the real Daz, it's structural fall apartness. There you go. That'd be that switch. Simon, looking back, the lives helped us all through the Rona. Yeah, I think it was a team effort, to be honest. It was an interesting time for all of us, and it just allowed us to keep some kind of connection going. It was a very strange period of time for me. I spent a lot of time in the workshop doing stuff, projects, doing all the racking and bits and pieces, and it worked out brilliantly. But it was also a very unnerving kind of time for all of us as well. None of us really knew what was going on or what the outcome was going to be. You know, we were, especially at the start. I remember being sat on the step with Mrs. Mechanic at the front of the house very shortly after being sent home from work, and listening to the government's daily reports and so on in the morning. I think it was like 10 o'clock in the morning. Um, and we just we were just there for each other. We had no idea what was gonna roll out across the country, how bad things were gonna get. It looked horrendous from the news and the footage that was coming in from other countries. Just it just begged belief. It was almost like we were in a movie, and we really worried for our children. Charlotte's around, she's over in Canada. Ben was up in Auckland. He was in the thick of it. And of course, Eloise, I think she was already down in Queenstown by that point. But it was bad. It was really bad. And we wanted to be there for our kids. And we really wanted, ideally, to get them all here, which is pretty remote, and keep them safe. The reality was we just weren't able to do that. They had their own commitments that they had to stick to, as many of us did. I was extremely fortunate. My employer was really, really good through it. And that's something I'll never forget. They were excellent with the staff, and kept us as safe as they possibly could. Which things could have been quite different if they hadn't done that. The real Dow's weekend after Easter. That's right, weekend after Easter the clocks change. Simon, still okay in the UK? Interesting. Okay, crew. Well, I think we're there. Yes, we are. We've done it. We've had way too many cigarettes as always, and a rather disgusting pie. And a good chat, which is nice. And Simon, thank you again for sending those items across to the workshop. They will be very, very useful indeed, invaluable in some cases. Very much looking forward to getting the scan tool on the monkey bike and on the Jimny as well, which is really cool to see if we've got any hidden codes there. Okay, crew, I really have to get packed up. I've got a couple of little jobs to do before I head off up to Auckland, and I will see you again in 2 weeks' time. Although there will most certainly be another video going out over the next few days. Look out for it. It's quite an interesting one. And those workstations, man, they turned out brilliantly. Absolutely perfect. Very, very impressed with them. And great ergonomics for me working as well for many hours on the old laptop. So if you ever want to copy the design, it's all embedded in the videos. You can see exactly how it was made. Might be useful. Okay, crew. Well, thanks again for your support. Really, really appreciate it. And I will see you next time round. Cheers now. Bye.